we're there. We're live. Good morning. Good to see you.
Morning.
Welcome to Coffee and Catch Up. Although I've got tea today rather than coffee. I just felt like a cup of tea. So it's okay if you don't want to go for coffee, even though we called it Coffee and Catch Up.
We're all inclusive.
Yeah, you can have a cup of tea instead. So really good to have you. Well, I take a wee sip of tea. Good to see you. All right. Well, this morning we want to talk a little bit about the weather. No, I'm only kidding. But the weather has been not so great this week. But last week
was brilliant.
I don't know if you, maybe it's just like if you get a couple of days of sunshine, you're like, we need to get out. So I'm sure many of you were out in the park or at the beach. We were at the beach, which was really wonderful and such a special time. Morning, Michelle. Really good to see you.
Just fabulous. Just works too.
Probably better on a day like
Just
this.
and catch up.
Yeah, it's not got the same ring to it, but it's definitely probably good for you. But we were out on the beach, and we love to get in the water, especially the kids and I, and we just spent the day in the water one day when it was really warm. But what we were doing, Eli, our eldest has a paddle board, and so we thought we'd try. I don't think you're supposed to do this with a paddle board, but we thought we'd try and ride the waves. So me, Annabelle, and Eli were on the paddle board, and we were kind of seeing what it was to ride the waves out the shore a little bit, and then try and catch the wave and let it drive us in the shore. It was great fun. We kept getting flipped. Well, I kept getting flipped over, getting
falling off. Kids were great at it.
It was hilarious. But what you had to do was really like be engaged, because if you didn't have the board straight, when you were going towards the waves, then you would have just got caught and flipped over. And so it was really important that you kind of caught it at the right angle. And then when you were coming into shore, if you could catch the wave just at the right time, get up enough speed, and if you could just get the angle right, it would take you right into shore, and it was incredible. And you would jump off the board laughing and thinking, yes, we did it. Didn't happen that often, but a couple of times we did it. And it was great fun. So that was our day in the sun. I'm reminiscing because I look out and it's a little bit grey this morning. So I wonder what you get up to.
Yeah, so our link today is we're looking at power, okay? And really when we were chatting about, we were thinking about that story.
I just realised this is going to take us off in a wee minute.
Oh, why is that?
I don't know. It must have a time limit on my Facebook. So stay there. Don't...
We're back. Sorry about that. Technical things.
So,
you think we know what we're doing now, but we don't.
I have a limit on how much time I'm on Facebook, just so not like, and then it must have said, you've only got 5 minutes left. And then I was thinking, we are going to be longer than 5 minutes. I'm just going to shut off. So anyway,
we're back doing what you saw for the minute. But anyway, so where were we at? We were talking about
waves.
We're talking about waves, and we're talking about power. And we were saying that basically sometimes when you're following Jesus, it feels a wee bit like that. Ben's story is riding the waves, right? It feels like that. So we wanted to look at this verse today and kind of base it on 2 Peter. I just want to read this verse to you. Everything that goes into a life of pleasing God has been miraculously given to us. Like, that verse is amazing. The power in that, we've been chatting about that loads. Like, everything that we need has been given to us. So then the next question is, well, why doesn't it always feel that way? Because if you're anything like me, you know, sometimes you feel like you've run out of energy or you're running on empty. And so what we wanted to explore a bit today is, how do we live a life that is full of that power and living it in God's power? So that's us for today.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever read the teachings of Jesus, or like even just looked at his life as the kind of recorded in the Gospels and what he invites us into, and just thought, that's impossible. I can't do that. There's no way. Like, that's too much you're asking. I certainly, when I come across stuff that Jesus says, think, I don't know how we live that, and it's impossible. The truth is, it is impossible. And Jesus knew this, you know, like when he was commissioning or sending his disciples out to carry on his mission, and to go and extend what he'd been doing on the earth. You know, he gives them this really explicit instruction, you know, don't leave Jerusalem, don't leave the place that you are until you're clothed with power from on high, because he knew that they couldn't do it in their own ability. It just wasn't possible for them to do it in their own strength. They needed the power and the presence of God with them. And I think that's true of us. Like, so often we try and do it on our own strength, but actually we need God's power.
So question time for you. How are you at asking for help?
Good one.
So if you're our 5-year-old, he's brilliant at asking for help. He asks for help too much. He's able to put on his own shoes, but he wants help putting on his shoes.
Yeah, not doing anything by himself.
No, not at all. He lives like a prince. But anyway, but if you're like me, I actually find it quite hard. You know, I'm quite independent. I want to try it myself first, and I only ask for help when I really, really can't do it. So my story of asking for help, we were thinking about it, is in our old house in Belfast, we had this tree that grew up the middle of the garden. Some of you might have heard this story before, but it was a big nuisance. It cut out the whole garden. Everything was in shade, and for ages I wanted this tree cut down, and I kept saying to Ben, and Ben said, yeah, we'll get a tree surgeon or something, and it had been dragging on for a few years. So this one day when you were sitting in watching football, I think I decided I'm going to sort this tree out. So I went outside to our shed, found a saw, not a chainsaw, just a normal saw, and decided, right, I'm going to cut this tree down. So it was all going great to begin with. I was sawing this tree, it was fabulous, till about halfway through.
I remember this.
And the saw got stuck. Like, it literally wouldn't budge a millimetre.
It's not really funny, but I'm laughing.
Yeah. And what happened was, I can't forget, like, right, a tree, it's quite narrow at the bottom of the trunk, but at the top it's huge, and there's loads of trees around this area. So basically this tree was suspended, half cut, and all the local trees were kind of holding it up. And it was only at that point that I finally thought, right, I think I might need some help. And we'll end the story there rather than saying what happened after. But anyway, we got the tree down eventually.
I can add to it if you want to. I think I came out and looked at it and I thought, oh my goodness, that's going to go over into the next door's fence and knock it all down. But the truth is, the moral of the story is, I didn't get the tree surgeon in quick enough. And actually, we did. We
got it down ourselves in the end.
But I think the point of the story is, there's sometimes we need help.
Yeah, there's some things beyond us.
Hi Lorna. Oh, Dawn and Lorna at the beach here.
Oh, fabulous!
Brilliant.
We were there last week. It's great.
Hopefully there's some warmth and some. At least it's wild out there at the minute. Yeah. I don't know if you're getting sunshine or not. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but there's one of the characters in the Bible, particularly. I mean, there's lots like this, but Apostle Peter, or the disciple Peter, he is like this. You know, he doesn't know how to ask for help. He is Mr. Independent. I'm going to get it done. You know, I mean, Jesus calls him the rock on which he's going to build his church, and so Peter takes that on. But the truth is, Peter learns the hard way that he's just not quite as strong as he thinks he is, and he ends up, even though he promises not to mess up, he ends up denying Jesus, which is just an epic fail. And he's disappointed, he's frustrated, he's realized that he's not quite as strong as he thinks he is. And Jesus has to kind of come back and say, look, Peter, I didn't choose you because of your ability. I chose you because of my love and my grace. And, you know, we're a bit like that. I don't know if you think that you're often trying to even do this life with Jesus on your own. You know, how are you at relying on his power? Do you rely on your own strength and your own ability to get it done? And then wonder why sometimes we find ourselves frustrated, you know, because sooner or later we just get tired or things don't work out. We need his power and presence. We're not as strong as we think we are, you know. And Jesus taught this too, you know. He used this picture, you know, and you can read it in John 15. He used this picture of a vine and branches, you know, like a grapevine. And he basically said, you know, the branches need to be connected to the vine in order to bear fruit. And in the same way, like, we need to be connected to the source of power and love, Jesus, in order to bear fruit in our lives. He actually says, unless we remain in him, unless we rely on him, we can't do anything. Like, apart from him, we can't do anything. And so this idea that we can do it in our own strength is just ludicrous, but we still go there, don't we? And so we want to learn this morning, how do we rely on his power, like Jesus asked us to.
Yeah, so I just want to read the rest of that verse that I kind of started to read at the beginning. It's in 2 Peter. So I'll read it from the beginning, but again. So everything that goes into a life of pleasing God has been miraculously given to us by getting to know personally and intimately the one who invited us to God. It's Jesus, right? So like, that's how we access the power. That's how we access the power that God gives us. That's how, by staying connected to Jesus. By getting to know him, by staying tuned into his love. And sometimes that's easier said than done, especially when we're used to doing it ourselves. But Peter goes on with this instruction. He says, so don't lose a minute in building on what you've been given, complementing your basic faith with good character, spiritual understanding, alert discipline, passionate patience, reverent wonder, warm friendliness, and generous love, each dimension fitting into and developing the others. With these qualities active and growing in your lives, no grass will grow under your feet. No day will pass without its reward as you mature in your experience of our Master Jesus.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good. Really good words. It's back to our story, isn't it, at the beginning of the paddleboard and the waves. You know, if you catch the wave, it's the power of the wave that brings you into shore. You don't have to paddle really hard to get there. You just have to get the board in the right position, in the right alignment, and the wave takes you in. And it's the same, with God, his presence and his power. We have to work at being engaged with God, at aligning our hearts with him, at receiving from him, but it's his power that brings us into shore. It's his power that does the work. of the kingdom in our lives and through our lives. And so often we find ourselves maybe burnt out, maybe getting stuck in this journey, and you feel like, come on, God, where's the power? What's going on here? Why is it not working? And the truth is, probably somewhere along the way we ended up trying to do it alone. Probably somewhere along the way we stopped learning how to engage and connect and trust in Jesus and stay connected to source. Probably something knocked us off the paddleboard, metaphorically, probably something, knocked us off, caught our attention, maybe hurt us and knocked us off our focus on God. But we want to stay engaged, and that requires effort, requires intention, so that's it.
Yeah, so how do we do that? So we have a few pointers of kind of what we've been journeying, thinking about. And the first thing is, be honest and call out to God in your point of need. It always starts with where we are in the present. It's so easy to think in the past, the future is actually Jesus is right there now, this morning, waiting for you. So be honest about where your need is, wherever you are this morning. Whenever this finishes, just call out to him, just sit with him, spend 5 minutes, just open your heart and humility to God, and I promise you he responds with such beautiful grace.
So true.
Yeah, and secondly, learn to trust God's promises, even when you don't feel it. Over the month of July, I did this thing for 30 days where I kind of picked one of God's promises each day and just meditated on that promise for the day. And I would really encourage you to do this, especially if you feel like you're in a season where there's no waves coming, you can't feel the power. God feels silent or absent, even though he's not. And I just encourage you to don't lose heart. Trust what he said. Get yourself reading the promises of God, because even when you can't feel it, you can lean on his faithfulness and his promises, and he will lead you even when you can't feel it or see what's clearly up ahead.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, and then finally, play your part in staying connected to the source. This is what we talked about back at the very beginning of lockdown, was the importance of having these rhythms in our life, or what we call rhythms of grace. Basically, activities or practices or things that we do intentionally that place us before God to receive his grace. Things like prayer and quiet and reading, thinking, listening to the Bible. Sharing with others, being generous, worship, engaging in community with others, spending time walking on the beach if need be, just to connect with God, doing whatever it is that you can do to place yourself in alignment with God's heart for you. And that's where the power flows in, a bit like the paddleboard, getting into alignment with the wave. And it's not easy to do that, especially when life is chaotic or when you're getting pulled in lots of different directions. And truthfully, life with Jesus is really about that, bringing whatever attention and effort and submitting it to God and trying to align ourselves with him. Because there is, even if it doesn't feel like it this morning, there is fresh power available to us to live in the way of Jesus, in the way he's inviting us to, and to leave an impact on the world. What we have to do is try and find a way to connect with him and to receive that and to flow in that. And so why not, wherever you're listening to this morning, maybe even if you don't even know what you think about Jesus, or maybe you do, respond to that and just say, okay, if this is real, if there is power, I want to receive that, I want to live in that, and I want to flow in that.
Yeah, so that's us for today. It's our, hopefully that's encouraging for you. It's what we've been thinking about. There is power available to you today. So on other matters, just wanted to keep you updated. So if you're connecting with us, our Foyle Vineyard Church family, you're so welcome, even if this is your first time. We gather together in different ways on Sunday. So if you're still at home or shielding, you can connect on our Facebook page here. We're streaming at 10:30. Or last week we launched watch parties, which is small groups of people in homes in this city and beyond, streaming the service together and doing community. And then the new announcement for this Sunday is we're also hosting a live watch party at our church building. So that's the Rosemount Shirt Factory. And if you're not already connected into a watch party in a home, I would love to invite you. It's really important to us to love our community well and to keep things safe. So we've implemented changes to try to prevent the spread of COVID. So as one of those things, you do need to save your seat in advance. It's really important. There is a limited capacity to keep things safe. but I would love to invite you to come. So check out our website. It's forthevineyard.co.uk/save a seat. I'll put the link in the comments below. But if you're not already connected in a watch party, or if you're new to us, I really would love to invite you. Come along, join us live in the building as we host our Sunday gathering through these different ways.
Yeah, it'd be great to meet you as well. If we haven't met you before, you've been watching along.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. So yeah, do you know what? We forgot to mention, I think this is our penultimate coffee and catch up. Which is a little bit of a shame, but it's coming towards the end of the summer, and I'm not saying we're never going to do anything like this again. I won't want to close the door on it. But I think we're going to finish next week with a bang.
All right.
I have no idea what I'm going to say, so yeah. Or we're just going to finish, maybe not leave the bang out of it, but we're going to finish next week. So if you have been joining us and been really valuing these times and connecting next week, we'd love to have you with us. And invite your friends to join us.
Yeah, connect live with us next week.
Yeah.
The last one for this season.
Last one for this season, for this time, for this moment.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
us.
Have a great week.
Have a great day.
Have a powerful week.
I saw the sun just breaking out of the clouds, so that for me is just the weather, and I can't help talk about it. But maybe I could turn it around into a spiritual matter. Let God break into your life today in His power. So,
Take care, guys.
Good
Love
to see you.
Bye.
Bye.